Lisa Martinez stared at her screen in confusion. The signal made no sense. She had been monitoring deep space communications for 3 years aboard Sentinel Prime, the farthest human outpost from Earth. She knew every type of signal that crossed her desk: solar flares, cosmic radiation, even the occasional space junk transmission. This was different. The pattern repeated every 47 seconds. It came from empty space 400 light-years away. No human ship had ever traveled that far. The signal was clearly artificial, but it did not match any human technology. "Captain Morrison, you need to see this," Lisa called across the command center. Jake Morrison walked over to her station. He was a tall man with graying hair who had spent most of his career on the frontier. Nothing surprised him anymore, or so he thought. "What do you have, Martinez?" "Unknown signal, sir. It's been repeating for 6 hours. The computer can't identify the source or decode the message." Jake looked at the data scrolling across Lisa's screen. The signal was strong despite coming from an impossible distance. Whatever was sending it had serious power behind it. "Get Bailey and Rodriguez up here," Jake ordered. "If this is what I think it is, we're going to need experts." Chris Bailey arrived first. The young tech specialist had a gift for understanding alien technology, even though humanity had never encountered any. Amy Rodriguez came next. She was Earth's best xenolinguist, stationed at Sentinel Prime just in case first contact ever happened. "So this is it," Amy said, studying the signal patterns. "First contact." "Maybe," Jake replied. "Let's figure out what they're saying before we get excited." For the next 3 days, Bailey and Rodriguez worked around the clock. They tried every decoding method they knew. They analyzed the signal's mathematical structure. They looked for patterns that might represent language or data. On the 3rd day, Amy made a breakthrough. "It's a distress call," she announced to the gathered crew. "Look at these repetition patterns. This section here repeats every transmission. That's likely their identification. This part changes slightly each time, probably a timestamp. And this section?" She pointed to a long, complex pattern. "This has to be their message." Bailey had been working on the mathematical elements. "The coordinates are clear enough. They're showing us where they are. And these energy readings, they're under attack." Jake felt his stomach tighten. Someone out there was dying while humans stood around trying to understand their language. "How much of the message can you decode?" Amy pulled up her translation matrix. "They call themselves Cathara. They're peaceful traders, 3 cargo ships and 1 escort vessel. They're being hunted by something called the Vorthak Dominion." "Hunted?" Jake asked. "Systematically destroyed," Bailey added, reading from his analysis. "The Cathara don't have much in terms of weapons. They're sending this signal as a last hope. They don't even know if anyone will receive it." Jake walked to the main display showing the star charts. 400 light-years. It might as well have been 4,000. No human ship could reach them in time even if they wanted to help. "Sir?" Lisa interrupted. "Priority transmission from Earth Command." Admiral Helen Brooks appeared on the main screen. She was a stern woman who had led Earth's defense forces for 15 years. Behind her, Jake could see the busy Earth Command Center. "Captain Morrison, we've been monitoring your discoveries. What's your assessment?" "Unknown alien species under attack by another unknown species, ma'am." "The victims are asking for help. From anyone who can hear them?" "Yes, ma'am. They're broadcasting into empty space. They have no idea we exist." Admiral Brooks was quiet for a long moment. Jake could see her weighing the decision. Humanity had always wondered what they would do when they met other intelligent life. Now they knew. Someone was dying, and Earth had the power to help. "Captain, I'm authorizing Operation Guardian Angel. The experimental defense fleet will deploy to those coordinates." Jake felt his pulse quicken. The experimental fleet was humanity's newest and most powerful military force. 12 ships built with technology that pushed the limits of human engineering. If Earth was sending them, this was serious. "Ma'am, we're talking about first contact with 2 alien species. We don't know their capabilities or intentions." "I know, Captain, but we know enough. One side is asking for help. The other side is providing a reason to need it. That's enough for me." The transmission ended, leaving Jake alone with his thoughts. In 6 hours, the most powerful fleet humanity had ever assembled would launch toward unknown space to help people they had never met fight enemies they knew nothing about. Amy walked up beside him. "Do you think we're doing the right thing?" Jake looked at the signal data still scrolling across the screens. Somewhere in the darkness, people were dying. They had reached out across impossible distances, hoping someone might care enough to help. Rodriguez, in all your studies of human nature, what defines us best? Amy thought for a moment. We protect those who can't protect themselves. Then yes, we're doing the right thing. 2 hours later, Jake received confirmation that the fleet had launched. Captain Rick Stone commanded the massive dreadnought Vengeance, leading 11 other ships into the unknown. They carried 3,000 of humanity's best soldiers, scientists, and spacers. Jake returned to Lisa's station where the alien signal continued its desperate repetition. Soon, very soon, the Cathara would learn they were not alone. Earth had heard their call for help, and Earth was coming. The signal continued through the night, a beacon of hope crossing the vast emptiness of space. Jake stayed at his post, listening to the alien voices calling across the void. In 6 days they would have their answer. Humanity had heard the SOS, and humanity was answering with firepower. The human fleet cut through space like a spear thrown into darkness. Captain Rick Stone stood on the bridge of the Vengeance, watching stars streak past the main viewport. Behind him, 11 other ships maintained perfect formation. This was the largest military force humanity had ever sent beyond their own solar system. 6 days to target, Captain, reported Navigation Officer Tim Walker. All ships report ready status. Rick nodded, studying the tactical display. The fleet was impressive by human standards. The Vengeance was a kilometer-long dreadnought armed with enough firepower to crack a moon. 4 heavy cruisers, Guardian, Defiant, Liberty, and Sovereign, formed the main battle line. 3 destroyers provided speed and flexibility. 4 support ships carried supplies, medical facilities, and repair equipment. Colonel Webb, report to the bridge, Rick ordered through the ship's communication system. Marcus Webb arrived within minutes. The Marine colonel was a compact man with intelligent eyes and scars that told stories of battles fought in Earth's darker corners. He commanded 2,000 Marines spread across the fleet. Status report, Colonel. Marines are ready, Captain. We've been studying everything we know about these aliens. My troops are prepared for boarding actions, ground assault, or defensive operations. Chief Engineer Kate Phillips joined them at the tactical station. She was younger than most senior officers, but her understanding of advanced technology was unmatched in the fleet. How are our systems holding up, Chief? Better than expected, sir. The new fusion drives are performing perfectly. Power output is steady across all ships. We'll reach the target zone with full operational capability. Rick felt satisfaction at his crew's professionalism. These people represented the best of humanity. Whatever they found at the end of their journey, they would face it together. Dr. Peterson, join us, please. Sam Peterson was the fleet's xenobiologist. He had spent his career studying the possibility of alien life. Now he would meet it face to face. Doctor, what should we expect from the Cathara? Sam consulted his tablet, filled with analysis of the alien transmissions. Based on their communication patterns, I believe they're highly intelligent. Their mathematics is elegant and precise. Their distress call shows emotional depth. They're afraid, but they're also hopeful. That suggests a species capable of complex thinking and feeling. And the Vorthak, harder to determine. We only know them through Cathara descriptions. They appear to be aggressive and militaristic. The fact that they're hunting civilian traders suggests they don't share our moral constraints. Rick walked to the main display showing their route through unexplored space. Every star system they passed could contain wonders or threats. Humanity was traveling blind into a galaxy they knew nothing about. Long-range sensors are picking up energy signatures, reported sensor operator Linda Hayes. Still too far for detailed analysis, but there's definitely activity at our destination. Combat activity? Probable, sir. Multiple energy sources moving at high speed. Some signatures are fading. That usually means ships taking damage or being destroyed. Rick felt the familiar tension that came before battle. Somewhere ahead, the situation they had come to resolve was still happening. People were still dying. All ships maintain course and speed. Combat stations in 12 hours. The next day brought clearer sensor readings. The battle was definitely still happening. Lieutenant Danny Cruz launched his scout fighter to get a closer look at the situation. Danny was one of humanity's best pilots. His small, fast ship could approach the combat zone without being detected. What he found there made him radio back immediately. Command, this is Scout 1. I have visual on the engagement zone. Rick activated the main screen to receive Danny's transmission. The image that appeared made everyone on the bridge fall silent. 3 sleek alien ships were running for their lives. They moved with grace and speed, but they were clearly damaged. Debris trailed from their hulls. Their formation was ragged, desperate. Chasing them were 6 massive warships unlike anything in human databases. They were angular, aggressive-looking vessels that radiated menace. Energy weapons lashed out from their forward guns, striking the fleeing ships again and again. Analysis, Mr. Cruz? The smaller ships match Cathara descriptions from their transmissions. They're beautiful vessels, but they're not built for combat. The larger ships have to be Vorthak. They're built like flying weapons platforms. As they watched, one of the Cathara ships exploded in a brilliant flash. The other 2 continued running, but their pursuers were gaining ground. Distance to engagement zone? 4 hours at maximum speed, Captain. Rick made his decision. All ships flank speed. Prepare for immediate combat upon arrival. The human fleet accelerated, pushing their engines to maximum output. In the distance, the unequal battle continued. Another Cathara ship was taking heavy damage. Captain, Dr. Peterson said quietly, we're about to make first contact with 2 alien species simultaneously. This moment will define humanity's place in the galaxy. I know, Doctor. We're going to define it as the species that helps those in need. 1 hour from the battle zone, Rick ordered communications to attempt contact with both sides. The response from the Cathara was immediate and filled with amazement. Unknown vessels, this is Navigator Prime Zethka of the Cathara trading convoy. Are you responding to our distress call? The voice was translated by the ship's computers, but emotion came through clearly. Hope, desperation, and wonder mixed together. This is Captain Rick Stone of the Earth Defense Fleet. We received your distress call. We're here to help. Earth? We do not know this world. You came so far to help strangers? That's what we do. The Vorthak response was very different. War leader Karen Vex's voice was filled with contempt and aggression. Unknown primitives, you enter Vorthak hunting grounds. Flee now or be destroyed with the prey we chase. Rick smiled grimly. After 6 days of wondering what they would find, the situation was now perfectly clear. The Cathara were exactly what they appeared to be, peaceful people in need of help. The Vorthak were exactly what the Cathara had described, aggressive predators. War leader Karen Vex, this is Captain Stone. Cease your attack and withdraw immediately. Laughter came across the communication channel. Primitive fools. We are Vorthak. We take what we want and destroy what opposes us. Your small fleet will burn with the traitors you try to protect. Rick looked around his bridge at the faces of his crew. They had come 400 light years to answer a call for help. They had found exactly the situation they expected. Innocents under attack by aggressors. All ships battle stations. Prepare to engage the enemy. The human fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the combat zone. 12 ships against 6 should be good odds, but nobody knew what alien weapons could do. Rick opened a channel to the entire fleet. This is Captain Stone. We came here to help people in trouble. The Vorthak have made their intentions clear. Show them what happens when they threaten innocent people in front of humans. The Vengeance led the charge toward the enemy fleet. Behind them came the full might of Earth's military power. The Cathara had called for help across the void. Humanity had answered. The first shots of humanity's first interstellar war came from the Vorthak fleet. 6 massive warships opened fire simultaneously, sending streams of bright energy toward the approaching human vessels. War leader Karen Vex had decided to test these unknown primitives with a demonstration of Vorthak power. Captain Rick Stone watched the enemy fire approach on his tactical display. The energy beams moved fast, but not faster than human sensors could track. Evasive maneuvers. All ships execute Formation Delta. The human fleet scattered like leaves in a storm, but it was controlled chaos. Each ship knew exactly where to go. The Vorthak weapons passed harmlessly through empty space where the human ships had been moments before. Their targeting systems are slow, reported Weapons Officer Paul Grant. They're aiming where we were, not where we're going, Rick smiled. Human military doctrine emphasized speed and unpredictability. Apparently, the Vorthak had never fought an enemy that moved like humans. All ships execute Terran Hammer formation. Target the lead Vorthak vessel. The human fleet moved with precision that amazed even their own crews. The Vengeance led the charge directly at the enemy flagship. The 4 cruisers spread wide, forming a diamond pattern around the dreadnought. The destroyers took high and low positions, creating a 3-dimensional formation. War leader Karen Vex watched from his command ship as the humans approached. He had destroyed hundreds of ships in his career. These primitives would be no different. All weapons focus fire on the large human vessel, crush their flagship, and they will surrender. The Vorthak fleet concentrated their firepower on the Vengeance. Dozens of energy beams converged on the human dreadnought. They struck the ship's shields in brilliant flashes of light and did almost nothing. Shield status? Rick asked calmly. Down to 91%, Captain, Kate Phillips reported. Their weapons are powerful, but our shield harmonics are deflecting most of the energy. Rick had hoped this would be the case. Human shields used rotating frequencies that made them nearly impossible to overwhelm with raw power. The Vorthak were using brute force tactics against sophisticated defense systems. Return fire. Show them how humans fight. The Vengeance's main guns spoke for the first time in alien space. 6 plasma cannons fired simultaneously, sending bolts of superheated matter toward the Vorthak flagship. The enemy shields flared and buckled under the impact, but the real surprise came from the human cruisers. Instead of energy weapons, they fired kinetic projectiles. Solid metal slugs accelerated to incredible speeds. The Vorthak shields had been designed to stop energy beams, not physical objects moving at significant fractions of light speed. The first kinetic rounds punched through Vorthak shields like paper. Metal slugs the size of telephone poles slammed into alien hulls with devastating effect. Armor that had protected Vorthak ships for decades crumpled and tore. Impossible! War leader Karen Vex roared as his flagship shuddered under human fire. How do primitives have such weapons? His question was answered by more kinetic rounds from the human destroyers. The smaller ships moved with incredible speed, appearing at unexpected angles to deliver precise strikes against Vorthak weapon systems. Sir, we're losing forward shields, reported Karen Vex's tactical officer. Human weapons are overloading our defensive systems. The Vorthak leader had never experienced this before. His ships had always been superior to whatever they fought. These humans were different. They fought like they had been doing it for centuries. All ships concentrate fire. Destroy them! But the human formation was already shifting. The cruisers Guardian and Defiant moved to flank the Vorthak line while Liberty and Sovereign maintained frontal pressure. The destroyers disappeared entirely, using their speed to attack from unexpected directions. Colonel Marcus Webb watched the battle from the Marine Command Center. His troops were ready for boarding actions, but the fleet was performing so well that boarding might not be necessary. Captain Stone, request permission to take one of their ships intact. My Marines need to see what we're fighting. Granted, Colonel. Target the damaged cruiser on their left flank. The Marine assault began with precision strikes against the Vorthak ship's weapon systems. Once it was defenseless, human breaching pods launched from the destroyer rapid fire. Each pod carried 12 Marines in full combat armor. The pods smashed through the alien hull like hammers. Marines poured into the Vorthak ship, moving with training and discipline that the aliens had never encountered. Vorthak warriors were large, aggressive creatures with thick hide and natural weapons. They fought with savage fury, but they fought as individuals. Human Marines fought as teams, covering each other and advancing with coordinated tactics. The battle inside the Vorthak ship was brief and decisive. Colonel Webb's Marines captured the bridge in 20 minutes, taking several prisoners and securing valuable intelligence. Meanwhile, the space battle was reaching its conclusion. The human fleet had destroyed 2 Vorthak ships and disabled 2 others. The remaining 2 vessels were trying to escape. Let one go, Rick ordered, but disable their communications first. I want them to deliver a message, not call for reinforcements. Lieutenant Danny Cruz led a fighter squadron against the fleeing Vorthak ships. Precise strikes knocked out their communication arrays but left their engines functional. One ship escaped. The other was captured by the Marines. War leader Karen Vex found himself trapped on a ship filled with human soldiers. The aliens who had seemed primitive just hours ago had defeated his entire force with casual efficiency. Colonel Webb entered the alien bridge with 2 Marines. The Vorthak leader was twice the size of any human, with claws and fangs that could tear a person apart. But he was surrounded by humans with weapons, and his ship was dead in space. I am Colonel Webb of the Earth Defense Force. You are now a prisoner of war. Karen Vex stared at the small human who had defeated him. Impossible. Vorthak do not surrender to primitives. You're not surrendering, Webb replied calmly. You've been defeated. There's a difference. The colonel activated his communication device. Captain Stone, we have the enemy commander. The ship is secure. Rick felt satisfaction wash over him. The first battle between humans and hostile aliens was over. Humanity had won decisively. Dr. Peterson, report to the Vorthak ship. I want to know everything about these people. Captain, came the voice of Navigator Prime Zethka from the surviving Cathara vessel. We cannot believe what we have witnessed. Your ships fight like nothing we have ever seen. We're just getting started, Rick replied. Are your people safe? Yes, thanks to your intervention. But war leader Karen Vex was not alone. There are more Vorthak fleets, many more. Rick looked at the tactical display showing the debris of the battle. Human weapons had proven superior to Vorthak technology, but numbers could overcome any advantage. How many more? Hundreds of ships, Captain. The Vorthak Dominion spans many star systems. They will not ignore this defeat, Rick nodded. He had expected this. Helping the Cathara was the right thing to do, but it meant humanity had just declared war on an interstellar empire. Then we'd better get ready for them. The human fleet gathered around the surviving Cathara ships. In the distance, one damaged Vorthak vessel limped toward home, carrying news that would change the galaxy forever. Earth had heard the SOS. Earth had answered with firepower. And now Earth would face the consequences of standing up to galactic bullies. Rick was looking forward to it. The Cathara ship drifted slowly toward the human fleet, its hull scarred but intact. Captain Rick Stone watched through the main viewport as the alien vessel approached. After centuries of wondering what other intelligent life might look like, humanity was about to find out. Captain, incoming transmission from the Cathara ship, reported Communications Officer Beth Adams. On screen, the face that appeared was unlike anything human imagination had created. Navigator Prime Zethka was tall and slender, with large dark eyes and skin that seemed to shimmer with its own light. The alien's features were delicate, almost artistic, suggesting a species that valued beauty and intelligence over physical strength. Captain Stone, I request permission to come aboard your vessel. My people wish to thank you properly for saving our lives. Rick felt the historic weight of the moment. This would be the first alien to set foot on a human ship. Permission granted. Navigator Prime, we'd be honored to meet you. 2 hours later, Rick stood in the main docking bay as the Cathara shuttle arrived. The alien craft was as beautiful as its pilot, smooth curves and elegant lines that made human ships look crude by comparison. Navigator Prime Zethka emerged from the shuttle with 2 companions. The Cathara moved with fluid grace as if they were dancing instead of walking. Dr. Sam Peterson stepped forward with his translation device, but it proved unnecessary. The alien spoke perfect English. We learned your language from your transmissions, Zethka explained. Cathara are good with languages. It helps in trade. Rick extended his hand in the traditional human greeting. Zethka studied the gesture for a moment, then grasped Rick's hand with long, delicate fingers. Welcome aboard the Vengeance. Navigator Prime, I'm Captain Rick Stone. We are honored to meet the humans who answered our call across the void. Your species travels far to help strangers. Our species believes in protecting those who can't protect themselves. Zethka's large eyes widened. This is your philosophy? To protect others? One of them. The Cathara leader was quiet for a moment, as if processing something profound. The galaxy will be very different now that humans have entered it. Dr. Peterson joined the group, practically vibrating with excitement. Navigator Prime, I'm Dr. Sam Peterson. I study alien life. I have so many questions, and I have answers, Dr. Peterson, but first, your Captain Stone must understand what his actions today have begun. They moved to the main conference room where Rick's senior staff waited. Colonel Marcus Webb was there, along with Chief Engineer Kate Phillips and the ship's other department heads. This was humanity's first diplomatic meeting with an alien species. Navigator Prime, Rick began. Tell us about the Vorthak Dominion. Zethka activated a small device that projected a 3-dimensional star map above the conference table. Hundreds of star systems appeared, connected by trade routes and marked with various symbols. The Vorthak Dominion controls over 200 star systems. They rule through force and fear. Any species they encounter has 2 choices: submit or be destroyed. Kate Phillips studied the projection. How long have they been expanding? 300 years by your measure. They began as one world, but their military technology allowed them to conquer their neighbors. Each victory made them stronger. What about other species? Dr. Peterson asked. Surely someone has opposed them. Many have tried. All have failed. The Vorthak are efficient conquerors. They study their enemies, adapt their tactics, and overwhelm through superior numbers. Zethka manipulated the star map, highlighting several systems. These worlds were once free. The Nareth were brilliant engineers. The Vorthak enslaved them and used their knowledge to build better warships. The Korlith were fierce warriors. The Vorthak absorbed their military traditions and became even more effective fighters. Rick felt a chill as he understood the implications. They learn from everyone they defeat. Yes, this is why they are so dangerous. Each conquest makes them more powerful. Colonel Webb leaned forward. What about your people? Why haven't the Kethera been conquered? We have survived by being useful. Kethera are natural traders and diplomats. We move freely between systems, carrying goods and information. The Vorthak allow this because we provide valuable services. But you don't fight them? Zethka's expression became sad. Fighting is forbidden by Kethera law. We are a peaceful people. We believe that violence only creates more violence. Kate Phillips was studying the technical data from the Kethera ship. Your technology is incredible. Your energy efficiency is far beyond anything we've achieved. Your shields generate power while they defend. Kethera science focuses on harmony and balance. We create technology that works with natural forces, not against them. And yet you can't defend yourselves, Rick observed. This is our great contradiction. We have the knowledge to build powerful weapons, but our culture forbids it. We choose to suffer rather than cause suffering. Dr. Peterson made notes on his tablet. How many species are there in the galaxy? Hundreds, perhaps thousands. Most are now part of the Vorthak Dominion. Some remain free by hiding or by being too distant for Vorthak attention. Your species is unique, Captain Stone. How so? You have both the technology to fight and the moral strength to help others. This combination is very rare. Rick stood and walked to the viewport showing the debris of the recent battle. Navigator Prime, the Vorthak ship that escaped, will report back to their leaders. They'll know about humanity now. Yes, this concerns me greatly. Why? Zethka joined Rick at the viewport. Because the Vorthak will see humans as either a threat to be eliminated or a people to be enslaved. They will not ignore you. Chief Engineer Phillips looked up from her analysis. How long before they reach Earth? Your homeworld is far from Vorthak space. It will take time for them to organize a response. Perhaps 6 months, perhaps a year. That's not much time to prepare for war with an interstellar empire. No, it is not. Rick made a decision that would change humanity's future. Navigator Prime, we need to know everything about Vorthak capabilities, tactics, and technology. Will your people help us? Zethka was quiet for a long moment. Helping you prepare for war violates our deepest beliefs, but... The alien leader looked around the room at the faces of the humans who had risked everything to save strangers. You came 400 light years to answer our distress call. The least we can do is ensure you survive the consequences. What are you suggesting? Come with us to Keth Prime, our homeworld. The collective council must decide our official response, but I believe they will choose to help you. Your species represents hope for the galaxy. Dr. Peterson practically bounced in his chair. A chance to visit an alien world and meet their government? This is incredible. Rick was more cautious. What about the Vorthak? Won't they be looking for us? Vorthak do not know about Keth Prime's location. We have kept our homeworld secret for generations. You will be safe there while we plan your defense. Colonel Webb had been studying the star charts. Captain, if we're going to war with the Vorthak Dominion, we need intelligence about their forces and strategies. This could be our only chance to get that information. Rick looked around the table at his officers. They had come to answer a distress call and ended up starting an interstellar war. Now they had a chance to learn about their enemies and prepare Earth's defense. Very well, Navigator Prime. We'll accompany you to Keth Prime. Zethka's face showed relief and gratitude. Thank you, Captain Stone. I believe this decision will save both our peoples. As the human fleet prepared to follow the Kethera ships deeper into unknown space, Rick wondered what Earth Command would think about his choice. He had exceeded his authority by agreeing to visit an alien world. But sometimes leadership meant making decisions that couldn't wait for orders from home. The Vorthak Dominion was preparing for war. Earth needed allies and intelligence if humanity was going to survive. The Kethera offered both. Rick just hoped they would be enough when the real fighting began. Keth Prime hung in space like a jewel made of light and crystal. Captain Rick Stone stared at the alien world through the Vengeance's main viewport, amazed by what he saw. Floating cities drifted through the planet's atmosphere. connected by streams of energy that pulsed like living veins. Research stations orbited the world in perfect harmony, their surfaces covered in gardens that sparkled with alien plants. "It's beautiful," whispered Dr. Sam Peterson, standing beside Rick on the observation deck. "I never imagined an entire civilization could be so elegant." Navigator Prime Zethka had joined them to watch their approach to the Cathera homeworld. "My people have spent thousands of years learning to live in balance with our world. We build with nature, not against it." The human fleet followed Cathera guidance ships toward the largest floating city. As they approached, Rick could see that the city was enormous, hundreds of kilometers across and filled with towers that seemed to grow like trees rather than being constructed like human buildings. "Captain Stone," came the voice of Communications Officer Beth Adams over the ship's intercom. "We're receiving a transmission from the Cathara Collective Council. They're requesting your immediate presence for formal first contact protocols." Rick straightened his uniform. In a few minutes, he would become the first human to address an alien government. The weight of representing his entire species pressed down on him. "Navigator Prime, what should I expect from your leaders?" "The Collective Council values wisdom and careful consideration. They will ask many questions about human nature and intentions. Be honest with them." Cathera can sense deception. An hour later, Rick found himself in a vast chamber at the heart of the floating city. The room was filled with natural light that seemed to come from the walls themselves. 12 Cathera sat in a circle, their delicate features showing the wisdom of great age. Prime Speaker Nalthek rose to greet the human delegation. Like all Cathara, the leader was tall and graceful, but there was something in the alien's large eyes that spoke of incredible intelligence and deep understanding. "Captain Stone of Earth, the Collective Council welcomes you to Keth Prime. Your actions in saving our convoy have already become legend among our people." "Thank you, Prime Speaker. It's an honor to be here. Please sit with us. We have much to discuss." Rick took his place in the circle, flanked by Dr. Peterson and Colonel Marcus Webb. The Cathera Council studied them with curious but friendly expressions. "Tell us about your species." Captain Stone requested Council Member Velna, a scientist who had worked closely with human engineers during their journey to Keth Prime. "We understand your technology and your military capabilities, but what drives humans to fight for strangers?" Rick thought carefully before answering. "We believe that intelligent life is precious. When we see people in danger, we feel a responsibility to help if we can, even when helping puts your own people at risk, especially then. Anyone can help when it's safe and easy. True character is shown when helping is dangerous." The council members exchanged glances, communicating in rapid bursts of their musical language. Prime Speaker Nalthek translated their discussion. Council Member Torketh points out that this philosophy makes humans unique in the galaxy. Most species help their own kind and ignore others. The Vorthak help no one but themselves. "What about the Cathara?" Dr. Peterson asked. "You seem like a moral people." "We are moral, but we are also passive. We refuse to commit violence even to protect others. Your species has something we lack: the courage to act on your convictions." Another council member, Zarvel, leaned forward. "This brings us to a difficult decision. Helping you prepare for war against the Vorthak violates our deepest beliefs about nonviolence." Rick felt his hopes sinking. Without Cathera knowledge about Vorthak capabilities, Earth's chances of survival were slim. However, Prime Speaker Nalthek continued, "Your willingness to sacrifice for strangers has shown us that some causes are worth supporting, even if we cannot fight ourselves." Council Member Velna activated a projection device that filled the chamber with detailed intelligence about Vorthak military forces. "We will provide you with everything we know about the Dominion. Their ship designs, their tactics, their technology. It may be enough to give your species a fighting chance." Colonel Webb studied the tactical information with growing concern. "These numbers are staggering. Over 800 active warships, production facilities that can build new vessels in weeks, and they're mobilizing a massive force. Supreme War Leader Morketh commands the expedition being prepared against your homeworld," explained Zarvel. "He is the Dominion's most successful conqueror. In 50 years of warfare, he has never been defeated." "How long before this force reaches Earth?" Rick asked. 6 months. Perhaps 7 if they are cautious." Rick activated his communication device to contact Earth. The transmission would take days to reach Admiral Helen Brooks, but she needed to know what humanity was facing. Admiral Brooks? This is Captain Stone reporting from the Cathara homeworld of Keth Prime. We have established formal diplomatic relations with the Cathara Collective. They are providing crucial intelligence about our new enemies. Rick summarized the threat facing Earth. Hundreds of Vorthak warships under the command of their best general, approaching human space with the intention of either conquering or destroying humanity. Ma'am, recommend immediate activation of all emergency military protocols. We need every ship we can build and every weapon we can create. The enemy force is larger than anything Earth has ever faced. The transmission ended, leaving Rick alone with the terrible knowledge of what was coming. Earth had 6 months to prepare for a war that would determine the survival of the human species. Prime Speaker Naltek approached him after the council session ended. Captain Stone, there is something else we must discuss. The Cathara Collective has made a decision that breaks with thousands of years of tradition. What decision? We are offering a formal alliance with humanity. We cannot fight, but we can provide technology, intelligence, and logistical support. Your species represents hope for a galaxy that has known only Vorthak oppression for too long. Rick felt a surge of gratitude and determination. We accept your alliance, Prime Speaker. Together, our peoples will face whatever comes. There is one more thing, added Council Member Velna. We have contacted other free species in the galaxy. Many are willing to provide covert support for your resistance. The Vorthak have made enemies across the stars. Your victory could inspire others to rebel. Dr. Peterson looked amazed. An interstellar alliance against the Vorthak Dominion. It begins with friendship between Cathara and humans, Naltek replied. Where it leads depends on your success against Morketh's invasion force. Rick stood and walked to the chamber's transparent walls, looking out at the beautiful floating cities of Keth Prime. Somewhere in the darkness between the stars, the largest military force in galactic history was preparing to destroy his homeworld. But Earth would not face that threat alone. Humanity had answered a distress call with firepower and gained allies among the stars. The Cathara offered knowledge and technology. Other species offered hope and support. The Vorthak Dominion had spent centuries conquering through fear and overwhelming force. They had never fought a species that fought back with the fury of Earth's military combined with the wisdom of galactic allies. Rick smiled as he imagined Supreme War Leader Morketh's surprise when he discovered that his primitive targets had friends throughout the galaxy. The Vorthak were about to learn why threatening humanity's allies was a very bad idea. Earth had heard the SOS and answered with firepower. Now the galaxy would see what happened when that firepower was backed by righteousness and supported by beings who believed in freedom. The war for the galaxy was about to begin, and humanity intended to win it.